Are you coming back to school with me? We could have done it all so easily.
Hi, my name is Craig Thompson-Wood. I'm your host on Teaching with Board Games. Now, I have been getting a few people who've been asking me about games that would be helpful with creative writing. So I'm always doing what I can to make sure that I am responding to the viewers, so that way when you do have your questions, you don't feel like I'm just ignoring you or just not responding at all. So I've been looking into that and seeing what I could find. And so what I'm looking at today is I'm looking at these things which I have heard about called story cubes. So today I'm talking about story cubes. So I'll be showing you a little bit about what the story cubes are about, but basically it's just it's 9 dice in a set. Now this is the it comes in this nice little tin, and this isn't the original packaging, so there'll be another package that they come in, which is almost a shame because I like to reduce as much packaging as I can. But so you have this nice little tin here that you're going to be keeping your dice in. So may look different when you buy it, or maybe, I know sometimes they have a different kind of box. Like I actually have this other set of story cubes here that comes in a box like this, and it has like it sort of folds out and this magnetized here. And I'll talk about these, and then there's a third set I have which looks like this, and it has this plastic lid here. Okay, so one's a metal tin, one's cardboard with a magnetized sort of folding lid here, like so. And then the third one is a plastic box, like almost like, reminds me of like one of those tins of mints that you would get. But those are the 3 sets. I'll talk a little bit about these, but these are I'm not going to review totally on the channel today. I'm going to save those for another time. Today I'll be looking at the basic Rory story cubes. So before I get to how the game is played and how you would use it, I'm going to get right to the report card where I talk about how good is this game for as in consideration of something you might use in your home or in your classroom as an educational tool. So first off, looking at the number of players, I'm going to give that an A+. A+ is an easy choice for me because this game can be played solo if you want to. You could just play it on your own, roll the dice, and see what kind of story you can come up with on your own. So nothing to do with that. But really, I mean, you could play this with a whole auditorium filled with people, a stadium filled with people. I mean, because you could roll the dice, and as long as everybody can see them, so if you just project it onto some screens or whatever, everybody can play at the same time. You can have everybody writing a story about what you rolled. So it's really unlimited, like to how many people can play, because everybody's going to be doing their own thing simultaneously, and so the potential for that is wonderful. So that to me is a great part of this. For learning, I'm going to give the game a B. I think that there is great opportunity here for just giving some prompts and some ideas, getting the stories out, just helping the students to be creative, helping yourself to be creative if you're using them for your own purposes. But there's a lot of great things in here that can really just help to motivate and get people writing in a way that it's going to be more fun and engaging for them. The idea is to try to break out of the molds of some of the things we've done before, like the worksheets and the books and the things like that, and the standard lessons, to do something that's going to be a little more fun and engage the students in a different way. So I think this does that. Which takes me then to fun, and I'm going to give the fun a B as well. I think the game is going to, again, it's going to be fun. I think the kids are going to enjoy it. I don't think it's anything they're going to be absolutely, just salivating over and just, they may be, but I just don't think that in terms of, fun games, there's certainly games which are more fun than these. And this isn't really so much a game so much as it is just sort of like a tool for doing it. But there's different ways that you can play it too, which is part of what makes it so fun. So if you have a group of very young students, you may play it one way to make it more simple for them, whereas with older students, there's other ways to play it too, which can challenge them more. I'll talk a little bit about this in a little bit, but there's just a number of different ways to play, so the way that's going to suit you is the way you'll choose. For time, I'm going to give the game an A+. The game is just so super quick to set up because you open the tin and you roll the dice. There you go, I just set up. and if you the cleanup is just a case of opening the tin and putting the dice back in again, and then you play for as long as you want to play. So when a game can be done that quickly, it's amazing. I mean, there's some games require a lot of setup and cleanup and play time, and you want to reach some sort of logical conclusion. I mean, obviously with this one, the logical conclusion would be that everybody has finished writing their stories. But again, depending on how much time that you have, you want to you can adjust this to your own needs, and so it's wonderful in that way. So A plus. For cost, I'm going to give the game an A plus. These, for one thing, like I always look at the cost in terms of the value you're getting for your money. So in a game like this, I mean, how often are you going to play it? Well, I think under some circumstances you could play this with all the possible combinations. I mean, that's 6 of 9 dice, the possible combinations there. I don't even want to try and do the math. 6 times 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 6. I mean, there's a lot of combinations of how many possible stories you can get in here. And even if you got the same roll twice, then who's to say you're going to come up with the same story a second time in a row? I mean, maybe you would, because you already remember the first story. But anyway, the point being is that there's so many possible ways to the combinations in playing it in the standard way, and that's just the standard way. There is so many different ways that people are using these, and I did a little bit of research online, and there's so many different people offering so many different ideas and ways in which to use story cubes in creative and exciting ways to just motivate the students too. So even in the rule book itself, it gives a couple ways to play it, again depending on the age of the students that you have and the level of English maybe knowledge that they have. Then there's different ways to do it here too. So I mean, and this whole thing only cost me $12. I mean, this I love the fact that it comes in a tin. I love the fact that these cubes are made, probably looks like Bakelite or something, but it looks like they're very sturdy dice. So again, unless you're losing them, I don't think these things are ever going to be destroyed under regular usage. So it's not like sometimes where you get cars that get bent and little pieces that get broken or whatever, but there's nothing like that here. They're solid, chunky dice in a metal tin. Wonderful and very cheap. All right, let me take it to the table and I'll show you how it's played. Okay, so in opening the tin here, stiff there. Okay. All right, so you have the 9 dice, and there is the instruction book there. It actually came in several different languages. I just got the English one. And you see how easy it is. I mean, it really just has that bit there. I mean, and then they have stuff for ideas, using your imagination. They have all these different places you can go to check out for more ideas. And like I said, I did some looking up on the internet for different ideas of how people are using it, and there's a lot of different ideas out there. So, and the thing I love about this, they say there's not a wrong way to do it. I mean, you can do them however you want. I like this idea though, where you're taking 3 of the cubes, and so the cubes, you may want to talk to students about the different things that are on there. So you have a castle and a rainbow. Maybe you have to discuss what that is. Is that like to me it looks like an envelope or something? So just make sure that as they look through that all the things are clear, what are on them, and you're going to roll the dice. You pick up the dice. So actually, so they say for the thing here. So I like this one. It's called My Hero. So you're taking 3 dice, and you're rolling them. So you have a clock, a phone, and a tree. Okay. So what it says then, so with the 3, then you're creating a character. So this person is a very punctual individual. They are always on time for everything. And actually, you know what? Let's reverse that. This person is always late for everything. So the clock means they're always late. So they are a teenager, and their mom gave them a phone to say, I need you home right now. Where are you? You're late. Or just to remind them where to be on time. But big daydreamer, big lover of nature. Always, like to go on hikes through the forest. So our student, our hero of the story is a teenager who is habitually late. Mom bought him a cell phone, and he's a hiker. All right, so that's our story then. And then what you do is you're just going to roll the dice then and use all these different things to see how it's going to work out. So we have an arrow. Now, do you want to use the arrow like as pointing to something, or is this going to be like an arrow for like from an archery set? A lock, a rainbow, a hand, a world, a shooting star, and a bumblebee. Okay, so you then start to take these things together, and how are you saying? So they say you should always begin with like once upon a time. Personally, I wouldn't, because that's sort of, you know, the beginning for a fairy tale. If we're not writing a fairy tale, then we wouldn't do it with once upon a time. So you can start the story however you want to, though, and you just start telling the story about the student, and maybe he's on the hike and he gets stung by a bee in his hand, and he goes to maybe he's going to, you know, he's on his hike, he's going to see, you know, he sees a rainbow, and while he's not paying attention to where he's going, he gets stung by a bee in his hand. And so we have like a keyhole and a lock there. So he's trying to go home so that he's not late. But when he gets home, the door is locked. He looks through the keyhole, you know, and then we decide that. But you see how it goes. I mean, you're making up the story as you go, and you're including all the different dice that are in there, and yeah, that's pretty much it. Like, I'm not making a great story here, and I'm having a little trouble thinking of the last two dice, but I'm also being put on the spot as I'm making the video. So, you know, you use them how you like. You use them how you see fit, and there's, like I say, different ways you can look up online on how to play them. But all kinds of different things that are on there, magic and abacus, a book. So again, some of the things you might want to explain to them, or, you know, like that, the abacus, and if they don't know what something is, you may want to, you know, get them the opportunity to re-roll something that they're not familiar with. You know, you get like an alien. You know, I saw one suggestion online that, you know, if they're, you know, like a learner's permit, that might be something that they're unfamiliar with. So if they are, then just tell them to re-roll the dice. Boom, there you go. I got a flame. Things on fire. But, you know, an idea could be like, so for like writing a presentation about something. So boom, there you go. So writing about learner's permits. Okay, well, write about driving. Do you think driving at the 16 is, you know, in Ontario is a good age, or should it be older? And anything to do with driving licenses and such, or maybe think about Egypt, and, you know, maybe about emojis. You know, you can all use these in whatever way you see fit. Like I say, it's just so many different ways to be used, and you know, this is the story cubes. Okay, so in conclusion then, I think this is a very worthy purchase, and one that I would recommend for classrooms, for homes and things, to, if you are trying to get your students to write more, to be creative in their writing. And, you know, again, for those viewers who've been asking me about creative writing, I've been glad to look at these ones, because I think it is a good purchase. I think it's some really good things in here. The fact too that they are just, you know, multiple ways to play it makes it that much more accessible. I always love a game that can be adjusted for those different skill levels. So this one does that. And great for ESL students. There's a lot of different activities and things that I found online that people are using to help ESL students to develop their language skills through the play of these games. Now, I'd also alluded to these ones earlier, so I had these two ones which I have also purchased. I figured I was out there. It took me a while to find these, actually a place that still had them in stock, and so, you know, with a bit of digging I finally found them. So I've got two other sets here as well. So like I said, these are the basic story cubes. This one is actions, so these are just actions in here. So all the cubes are representing different actions that you can do. So this would give you a different experience in terms of the kinds of stories you're going to be writing about, how you'd be using these. And for these ones, I'll talk about more about this one when I actually review this one. And this one, when I saw it on the website, I just couldn't resist. They are, well, They're all represented here, and they are Batman story cubes. So you want to tell a Batman story, go ahead. And if you want to mix your action cubes with your Batman cubes, with your regular story cubes, and tell an epic story with 27 cubes, go for it. Why not? Or mix them together and just choose 9 out of a bag and roll them. I mean, there's just, again, so many ways you can play this. Wonderful. So, I do recommend the Rory Story Cubes. So if you are new to this channel, then I am putting out content on a weekly basis. I do this so that you, the viewer, know that there's always going to be new content coming, that there's going to be fresh content, and as you saw today, like I said, this is a response to a viewer suggestion, a viewer question about creative writing, and I'm not done with it yet. I've still been doing more research into it, still have more ideas, and I'm not just talking about more Story Cube things, I'm talking about different games and stuff too, where I will be talking about creative writing. So if you have any questions about things you might like to see on this channel is all about gamification, game-based learning, how we can make learning more fun. I'm looking at all kinds of different learning resources, whether they're online resources, whether they're game resources, but the idea is that I'm trying to gamify I'm not trying to gamify, I'm trying to share with you resources for gamifying education, for helping students to learn, and I always wish that I had learned this way. I felt I would have been so much better of I would have been so much better of a student had I learned through gamification and game-based learning. So if this sounds good to you, then please do remember to hit like and subscribe down below. It really does help, and I do appreciate that. And if you have any other suggestions for games you might like to see on the channel, or topics you might like me to talk about, or any other ideas for things that you might be curious about with learning resources, and how I might be of help to you, then please leave that message in the comment section below, and I will do my best to answer you as soon as I can. And that is going to wrap it up for today's episode. Until next time, I am Craig Thompson Wood, your host on Teaching with Board Games, saying thanks for coming to the classroom.
Are you coming back to school with me?